Good morning and welcome to this video, which is prescribed for BA third year optional English semester 5 paper number 9, titled as the Modern English Structure Introduction to English Speech Sounds. Today we are going to talk about the description and classification of speech sounds. Let's get acquainted with it. Of the various sounds that a language uses, they can be classified basically into vowels and consonants. According to the letters of an alphabet, some grammar books of English describe A, E, I, O, U of the Roman alphabet as vowels and the rest are consonants. Traditionally speaking, this distinction of vowels and consonants is misleading and confusing because vowels and consonants are essentially the categories of speech sounds, while the description according to the letters in the Roman alphabet is with respect to letters. The way in which the sounds are produced, that is, phonetically speaking, a speech sound is described as a vowel if in the production of it there is no obstruction or no narrowing of a degree that would cause audible friction in the articulatory organs of the pharynx and the mouth regions. All the other sounds are called as consonants. A sound is called as a vowel if there is no obstruction or no narrowing with an audible friction within the oral cavity. The rest of the sounds are called as consonants, phonetically speaking. For example, the word B, B-double-E, has two sounds. The sound that is represented by the letter B as the sound which is pronounced as B, B, and the sound that is represented by the letters double E is pronounced as the sound E, E. So you get the pronunciation of B double E as B. The sound produced by the letters double E requires that the speaker raises the front of the tongue fairly high. It results in the narrowing of the mouth, but it does not result in producing any audible friction, and the air coming from the lungs can pass through the narrow mouth freely for any length of time. Try it out. E. You can pronounce it to any length of time without the air coming from the lungs being stopped in the oral cavity anytime. So, E is a vowel sound. The sound produced by the letter B requires that the speaker has to bring the two lips together and close the mouth, so that the air from the lungs has to stop in the mouth for some time and then suddenly releases the air with the opening of the lips. Close your lips and just press the air that is coming from the lungs within the oral cavity. Once the lips gets separated, the air comes out with some explosive sound and the sound B is pronounced. So for the production of B, you have to stop the air that is coming out from the lungs within the oral cavity. And hence, this sound is called as a consonant sound. In English, there are 24 consonant sounds and 20 vowel sounds from the phonetic point of view. Don't you think this sounds more logical than the traditional point of view? The vowels and consonants can also be distinguished from linguistic purposes also. And linguistically speaking, is related to the function of the sound in a given language. In the phonetic terms, that is the terms of production of speech sounds, the sounds are related to any language or any sound. But in linguistic terms, the function of the sound is restricted to a given language. A particular language is considered. For example, the English words Y-A-R-D, yard, and W-E-L-L, well. In the production of the initial sounds in these examples, the initial sound in Y-A-R-D is Y, Y, because you pronounce Y-A-R-D as yard, Y. And W-E-L-L is pronounced as W, W. So in the pronunciation of y and u, there is no obstruction or narrowing of such a degree in the mouth that would cause audible friction. The two sounds must be vowels in English, phonetically speaking, but the English language regards them as consonants. This is because the two sounds function in English grammar as consonants. They take up the article a before them, as in a yard, a well. They also occupy marginal positions in words and syllables as consonants and not the nuclear position as the vowels. For example, as you have PET, pet. Similarly, you have SET, set. Similarly, you have TELL, tell. Per sound, sound, sound occupy the marginal positions. Similarly, the sounds were and here, they also occupy the marginal positions as you could find in well and yell. They can never become the nucleus as the vowels do of the syllable. Hence, functionally speaking, in the linguistic terms, according to the function they do in the grammar of the language, they are consonants and not vowels. Hence, they are called as semi-vowels because they have most of the characteristic features of vowels but still included in consonants because of their linguistic purposes. Thus, speech sounds in English are classified into 20 vowels and 24 consonants phonetically and linguistically speaking. The IPA symbols. In 1886, a group of French and British language teachers, led by the French linguist Paul Passy, formed what would come to be known from 1897 onwards as the International Phonetic Association. Their original alphabet was based on the spelling reform for English known as the Roman alphabet. The idea of making the IPA, International Phonetic Alphabet, was first suggested by Otto Jespersen in a letter to Paul Passy. It was developed by Alexander John Ellis, Henry Sweet, Daniel Jones, and Passy all together. Since its creation, the International Phonetic Alphabet has undergone a number of revisions. After revisions and expansions from the 1890s to the 1940s, the International Phonetic Alphabet remained primarily unchanged. The International Phonetic Alphabet has the use of the following symbols to represent the world languages. Most of the symbols are from the Roman alphabet. Some are borrowed from the Greek alphabet, like the and the, which is theta and delta in Greek. Sometimes the inversions of the existing Roman alphabet is also used. As you could see on the slide, an inverted V is there, an inverted E is there, pronounced as and a. Diacritic marks are used to express the differences between the long and short vowels. Diacritic marks are the two dots that you put after the sound, or maybe some dash that you put on top, or maybe at the bottom as we write Sanskrit. These are called as diacritic marks. So you could find the first sound I followed by two diacritic marks, and so is pronounced for a longer time. E. Similarly are the other sounds o, oo, and so on. Let us now get ourselves acquainted with the IPA symbols of English language. As we said, English language has got 20 vowels and 24 consonants, altogether making 44 sounds with correspondence to the 26 letters that you have in English alphabet. Let us now get ourselves acquainted with these sounds. On the extreme left side, I have given you the symbols. I want you to understand these symbols and keep it in your mind. That is the reason why I'm posting a Word document also, which you can print and read and reread to keep them in your mind. The middle part is the example with their spellings, and the last part is with their pronunciation. Normally, the pronunciation uses International Phonetic Alphabet and is kept in slant lines, which we call as transcription. How to read them? E, as in S-E-A-T, seat. E, as in sit. S-I-T, sit. A. The third sound is A. Letter wise it is called E. Sound wise it is called A. A as in set. S-E-T, set. A. Now you don't have this sound in Indian languages. A. Open your mouth and pronounce it as A, as in S-A-T, sat. The next sound is with the diacritic mark, so pronounce it for a longer time. Ah, as in cart. C-A-R-T, cart. O. Just round your lips slightly and pronounce it as O. Now we don't have this sound also. C-O-T, cot. Cot. A longer version of O is O with the diacritic marks. C-O-U-R-T, cot. Cot. The next sound is U. F-U-L-L. O. Full. Full. The next is the inverted V, which is pronounced as the very first letter that we have in all Sanskrit derived languages. As in S-H-U-T, shut. S-H-U-T, shut. The next one is to be pronounced for a longer time because it has the diacritic marks. Don't open your mouth wide and pronounce as Yes, that's what you have to pronounce. As in S-H-I-R-T, shirt. Shirt. That's right. The next one is the shorter one, as you could find in the initial sound of A-B-O-U-T, about. About. The first one, is the sound. And the last of the pure vowels is oo. We did with oo. Now you have a longer version, oo, as in F-O-O-L, fool. Fool. That's right. If you count them, these are 12 in number and all these are the pure vowels in English. Practice them. The next set that you could find in this slide are called as diphthongs. Diphthongs. Diphthongs are called so because they are pronounced with the combination of two pure vowels. If they are two, why can't we distinguish them as two different sounds? No, we cannot, because the tongue movement is so quick and so fast that these two sounds unite to form a single sound. In Sanskrit derived languages, we have two diphthongs, I and ow. I and ow. But English has got 8 diphthongs, and this adds to the problematic pronunciation of the language. Let's get ourselves acquainted with all these 8 diphthongs. The very first one is, yes, you identified right, it is A and E combination, A, as in gate. G-A-T-E is not pronounced as gate, it's pronounced as gate. A. The two sounds of the diphthong are to be audible. So pronounce it slowly and you'll get it right. The next one is a combination of A and E, pronounced as I. Now this is easier for us because we have it in our language. I as in 5. The next diphthong is a combination of O and E, as in oi. The example for this is B-O-Y, boy. This diphthong that you could see in the next is a combination of and oo. O. O. Don't open your mouth wide. O. As in G-O, go. Go. It's not go, it's go. The next one is with an open mouth, A and oo combination, which is pronounced as ow. This is pretty easy for us because we have it in our language. Ow, as in H-O-W, how. How. That's right. The next one is a combination of A and A, as in H-A-I-R, hair. Oo and E combination makes the diphthong oor, as in P-O-O-R, poor, poor. E and A combination will make the diphthong ear, as in H-E-R-E, here, here. The mastery in the pronunciation of the vowel sounds is required for the correct speech. Good speaking skills can be enhanced with the mastery of these phonetic sounds. Keep practicing all the sounds. Next, we move on to the consonants. There are 24 consonants in English. The first one is, let's not go into the technicalities of labeling it as plosives and fricatives and affricates. We'll slowly understand in due course. But let's get ourselves acquainted with the sounds. The first one is P, 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 as in P-I-N, pin. B, B, as in B-A-T, bat. The next one is T, T, as in T-I-P, tip. D, D, D-I-N, din. K, K, C-A-T, cat, cat. G, G, as in G-U-N, gun. These two are a combination of t and sh sound, d and j sound. They are called as affricates in English. There are two affricates in English, ch and j. Ch as in church and j as in judge. These are practically easy for us because we have them in our language also, ch and j. The next set of sounds are called as fricatives because these are the friction consonants in English. There are 9 fricative sounds in English. The first one is f, f, as in fan, v, v, as in van. The next set is the symbols taken from the Greek language. Put your tongue between the teeth. Just release the air and pronounce it as in thin, T-H-I-N, thin. T-H-I-S, this. That's right. The next set is s and z, s, as in same, z, as in the initial sound of zoo. The next set is sh, sh, and zh, sh, as in shame, zh, as in pleasure. That's right. And this last one, last fricative is h, h as in H-E-I-G-H-T, height, height. That's right. We have 3 nasal sounds in English. Nasal sounds are those that are pronounced where the air goes through the nose and not through the mouth. The very first nasal sound in English is mm. Close your mouth with both the lips. Mm. And expel the air from the nose. Mm, as in might. That's right. Mm, as in night. And the last one is mm. See that the back of the tongue touches your velum or the soft palate. Release the air from the nose and pronounce it as sing. That's right. 3 nasal sounds are there in English. The next we have the frictionless continuant. The frictionless continuant, only one frictionless continuant is there in English. It is r. Whereas in the Indian languages, we have 2 frictionless continuants, ru rushitsa and r rathatsa. In English, we have only one, r, as in right, R-I-G-H-T, right. That's good. We have one lateral sound in English, whereas in the Indian languages, we have 2 lateral sounds, l, y, r, l, v, l, lavatsa, and we also have another lu in the vowel sound, which nowadays is been removed from the alphabet. But a, e, u, a, I, o, ow, ru, this is the frictionless continuant, ru, rushitsa, lu, this is the lateral sound. Nowadays, even in the Indian languages, we don't use them, we no more use them, and in English, we just have one lateral sound, l, L-I-G-H-T, light, light, yes. And 2 semivowels in English, as we already discussed, y and w. So, e as in Y-E-S, yes, and oo as in W-E-T, wet, wet. That's right. This is a quick review of all the 44 sounds in English, which are distinguished as vowels and consonants. The vowels, phonetically speaking and linguistically speaking. Phonetically speaking, you can pronounce the vowel to any length of time. Linguistically speaking, they become the nucleus or the most important part of the word, occupying the central position within the syllable. Linguistically speaking, a vowel is that which becomes the nucleus, and a consonant is that which occupies the marginal position. Based upon this phonetic and linguistic descriptions, the speech sounds in English can be categorized into 20 vowels and 24 consonants, which we have just understood. I hope you have enjoyed this lesson. This is a very new way of understanding the English language. And so my advice to you is to practice them ample. Every day pronounce all the sounds with at least one example. Find out 2 or 3 examples each on each day and practice them so that you could develop the pronunciation of it perfect. Thank you very much for now.